we are coming together and we're going to learn some very basic principles of DNA structure. We'll probably get into a little bit of the function and what makes DNA so unique and so special and so cool. Let's jump in. First of all, what is DNA? And yes, we literally just say it like DNA. It stands for something. It stands for two words, really, that are much larger than that. Let's see if we can make it appear. DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. All right, so there it is. You can take a look at deoxyribonucleic acid. I know it feels really big, and how would I ever understand that? We got this, okay? So let's break it down. All right, here we go. All right, so the D in DNA stands for deoxyribose. Okay, so deoxyribose. Now, that in itself is a mouthful. So what does that mean? It's a sugar. It's just a 5-carbon sugar that makes it unique from another type of nucleic acid. There are other types of nucleic acids, but they're categorized by what kind of sugar that they have up front. If you'll remember, sugars are carbohydrates. All sugars are carbohydrates. And so that just means it's just a type of sugar, a type of carbohydrate that helps make it what it is. Okay? All right. Now, what's up with this other stuff? Well, the Na, let me see if I can change colors here. The N and the A over here actually stand for two words. They stand for nucleic acid. Ta-da! So now what is a nucleic acid? Back when we were studying macromolecules, if you'll take a minute and you're like, I don't remember what a macromolecule is. Yes, you do. You're fine. There are 4 main ones that we talk about: carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids. Carbohydrates would be sugars, or, think like bread, pastas, apples, vegetables. All of those things are sugars. Even if they don't taste sweet, they're probably made of sugar and you just don't realize it. All right, then we get to lipids. Lipids are fats and waxes, okay? So this would be like butter, beeswax, candles, things like that, okay? And then we get to proteins, and proteins in your diet are probably things, meats that you are used to. If you're a vegetarian, these come in, or if you're not, these can come in the form of legumes, which are types of nuts. Things like peanut butter are usually high in protein. And there are some other plants that are higher in protein that will help you if you are vegetarian or vegan. However, if you're not, chances are you get most of your protein from a meat source. Any meat source will have protein in it. Okay, and then that brings us to nucleic acids. What are nucleic acids in general? They are usually a type of macromolecule that stores a large amount of information, okay? For us, we use our nucleic acid to store our genetic information. So all of our genes get stored by nucleic acids. And so which nucleic acid stores our stuff? The deoxyribonucleic acid is the one that we use for genetic information. It happens to be the one that most organisms use to store their genetic information. But there are some that choose to store their information in other types of nucleic acids. So everybody's got a preference for how that organism can function the best. All right, so now we've broken down the crazy words. Let's get into it. What's up with DNA? Like, what's the structure? How does it work, man? All right, let me draw some pictures here. First of all, let's do small scale, right? Okay, so nucleic acids are made of monomers, right? Sorry, my handwriting is dreadful, of monomers. What's a monomer? A monomer is a tiny building block. Think of it like Legos that build a Lego castle. These are the bricks that will build the castle, okay? So the monomer is called nucleotide. They are made of nucleotides, okay? Now, let's draw a nucleotide. All right, let me see. Let me pick a color. I'm going to pick purple. All right, so nucleotides have a basic shape. They have a phosphate, and that phosphate is bonded to something that looks a lot like a pentagon. Something that looks like a five-sided house. If you were to draw it when you were little and someone said, draw a house, you would probably draw something like that. Or draw a home plate. This would be your DNA, or your deoxyribose. So I'm going to put the letter D here because it stands for deoxyribose. Okay. And then lastly, but most unique, comes a type of nitrogen base, all right? So these are going to be nitrogen bases or nitrogenous bases. These are the things that make you truly unique to who you are, okay? Whatever combination those nitrogenous bases makes you different from me, or makes you different from the next person, or makes you different from a plant or an earthworm or a fungus. Like this, the way that it's combined makes you exactly physically who you are. It doesn't necessarily make you have the personality that you have. Some of that is, created from whatever environment you grew up in and stuff like that. But the physical structure of who you are is built because of the order of this code. Isn't that bizarre? How many letters do you think make up the code? Now, when you think about a code, usually our brain goes back to things like the English language or numbers, and how many different combinations can you come up with to make words or to make symbols or things like that. Turns out we only have 4 letters to work with. So you have 4 nitrogen bases in DNA, only 4. But the cool thing is, so the English alphabet, right? You have tons of letters to work with that can make up all the words in English. But in DNA, you have to make up an entire planet's worth of words using only 4 letters. And it does this so amazingly. Like, I am constantly blown away that it can do these things and make it so diverse and come up with all the types of species based off of just 4 letters. DNA is amazing. We'll get into those 4 letters in a different video, but I just wanted you to understand it's pretty incredible. All right, so what's the basic structure of DNA as a whole substance? It's called a double helix. So basically what happens is it kind of goes like this and makes an S shape on one side, and then it pairs up with another side, okay? And it sort of twists. And I know my drawing is terrible, but it makes a spiral, like a helix, if you will. Double helix. So the shape of DNA is called a double helix. So double helix. And a helix is just a word that translates to a twisted ladder or a spiral. If you've ever curled your hair and it came out like a little ringlet, like a spiral, that's a helix. If you could take 2 of them and somehow make them intertwine and bond together, you would have had a double helix. So anyway, helix is just the description of the shape. And because there are 2 strands here, because there are 2 sides to the strand of DNA, it is a double helix. Okay, so that's all we have time for in the basic structures, general overview of DNA. In another video, we will get to some details about the structure of DNA and actually what makes up those spirals. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please let me know if you have any questions. See you soon.